Because this is a free market and people, we're a free market economy. They should be able to participate in that.
Let's see how much she's made off of this supposed free market. She's made her and her husband, shall I say, has made $130 million. 75% of their time is not spent being public servants to you. It's spent off premises, outside of the Capitol, in a separate office, dialing for dollars. You can help build the only independent news outlet, always on the ground with the people, for as low as 16 cents a day.
Corporate media, they've been lying to us for years, and you're going straight to the people.
Flint, Michigan.
Brooklyn, New York.
Government sending one more you to the residents of Chicago.
We need as many independent voices as possible, and that's why what you guys do is so important.
Covering what the corporate media covers up. Hey, it's Jordan with Status Coup. As corrupt as our current king, Emperor Trump, is, I cannot let you, the masses, forget we have an even worse corruption problem. It's called the U.S. government, Republicans and Democrats, with politicians enriching themselves by committing legal insider trading. And this is perhaps why these politicians want to stay in office forever until they're dead. Hey, they are in office while they're practically dead. Well, there is now a new push that has a little momentum to ban stock trading among Congress. And some of it is even coming from Republicans, shockingly enough. Let me tell you what's going on. Congresswoman Ana Paulina Luna is trying to force a discharge petition. That is what the tool was to force the vote on the Epstein files, releasing the Epstein files. So Luna files discharge petition to force vote on stock trading plan. Congresswoman Ana Paulina Luna filed a discharge petition on Tuesday in an attempt to bypass House Republican leadership to force a vote on a bill to prohibit stock trading for members of Congress and their immediate family members. She has long warned that she would file a petition if leaders did not move fast enough to advance stock ban legislation. Quote, we have decided because of a lack of movement from the House of Representatives to initiate the discharge petition on banning insider trading, she said in a social media video. I'm going to show you Paulina's video in a second, but first I want to show you a video from her colleague, Republican Congressman Tim Burchett, which I think crystallizes this whole corrupt cesspool that is Congress. While they are enriching themselves, they are leaving us to fight in an economic Hunger Games for the scraps. Let's listen to the Republican Congressman Tim Burchett, who's also been pushing this bill to try and ban congressional stock trading.
Yeah, everybody talks about this place being a dadgum swamp. It's not a swamp. A swamp is something cool God created. It filters water. Animal life lives and flourishes around it. This is a sewer. This is created by man, and it needs to stop. We've, for years, Congress has been using hardworking American taxpayers' money to get rich. Dadgum, it's got to stop. America knows what the heck's going on. Everybody wants to knock Pelosi. Heck, she's not even in the top 10. Get on that Unusual Whales site. This is pathetic, folks. We all know what's going on. Congress knows what the hell's going on, and it needs to stop. This place is crooked and is crooked as a dog's leg. That's an old East Tennessee saying, but it's the truth. And it needs to stop. America knows what's going on. We're in committee meetings. We hear things before y'all do. We can make those connections. When you see a member of this body making 400, 500, 600 trades a year, you know something's wrong. And I want to say something. I'm going to get these guys mad at me, but I really don't care because they can't vote in my district. This thing ain't going to pass. If we're going to pass something in the House, and then guess what? The Senate will either, one, not take it up, or they'll come back in righteous indignation and say, oh, we need to make this stronger, something totally ridiculous, and they'll send it back to us. This is a scam that's being played on the American public, and it needs to stop. Let's quit with this nonsense. Let's give America a reason to trust Congress for once in our miserable lives. This is our chance to stand up and say, we hear what you're saying, America. We're going to fix this dadgum problem. But we probably won't do it. And I'll remain ticked off the rest of the day because of this. You all in the press, it would make a hell of a lot of sense if y'all would put the pressure on Congress and make us do the right thing for once in our miserable lives.
This place is as crooked as a dog's leg. That's my Tennessee accent for you. I couldn't agree more. Well, I'm sure he happens to have some donors that are crooked, but that's neither here or there. This is not going to pass because literally we have a corrupt government who there have been reports over the years that literally 75% of the time Congress people and senators, Democrats and Republicans, 75% of their time is not spent being public servants to you. It's spent off premises, outside of the Capitol, in a separate office, dialing for dollars. And maybe the remaining 25% of the time, they're stock trading off of privileged insider information that you and I do not have to enrich themselves. And they're doing this, they're enriching themselves for them legally, but for us, the very thing they're doing is illegal. They're doing all this while we are being literally exploited and just run over like roadkill by a capitalist and corrupt economic system. Here's just a couple bullets, folks. Recent Harris Axios poll finds a near majority of Americans say groceries are harder to afford today than a year ago. The bottom 60% of U.S. households don't make enough money to afford a minimal quality of life. Hiring is at its lowest level since 2009, according to a new report. Serious credit card delinquencies climbed to the highest level in 14 years. 1.2 million fewer jobs were created over the last 16 months than the government had reported. That's across the Biden and the Trump administration. And oh, by the way, just today, even though the Trump administration is now literally hiding the jobs report, they've canceled the jobs report. Data came out for November from other entities showing that we lost 32,000 jobs. I mean, I could go on. Late rental payments skyrocketing. U.S. foreclosures rising up 14% in May. And I'll give you updated numbers since then in a little bit. Homelessness hit a record high last year. It was up 18% last year. I could only imagine how much it's up this year. And I think the 18% is an undercount, frankly, because that's not counting people who are couch surfing. Surge of Americans living in RVs. Recent college graduates' unemployment rate is rising faster than all workers. Beef prices are up 17%. U.S. household now needs to earn $114,000 annually to afford a medium-priced home. Billionaire wealth surged 3 times faster in 2024. The world is now on pace for at least 5 trillionaires within a decade. AI is replacing entry-level jobs, and top AI executives warn of a 10 to 20% overall unemployment in the next 5 years. I think it's going to happen much quicker than 5 years, and I think it's going to be more than 10 to 20%. Mortgage applications are down 34% from pre-pandemic levels. I mean, sorry to be a Debbie Downer this holiday season, but they are enriching themselves, Democrats and Republicans, while you and I are rummaging for the crumbs. And I want to show you, because, you know, this is not like, hey, Team Blue versus Team Red. They're all corrupt. I want to show you what Nancy Pelosi, who's on her way out, says she's retiring, but boy, has she made quite the penny in her time in Congress as a public servant. I want to show you what she said when challenged on this just a few years ago. Should we ban you and your colleagues and your family from trading? She gave quite the answer as far as whether Congress should be allowed to trade stocks.
Insider just completed a 5-month investigation finding that 49 members of Congress and 182 senior congressional staffers have violated the Stock Act, the insider trading law. I'm wondering if you have any reaction to that. And secondly, should members of Congress and their spouses be banned from trading individual stocks while serving in Congress?
No, I don't know to the second one. We have a responsibility to report in the stock, on the stock, but I'm not familiar with that 5-month review, but if people aren't reporting, they should be. Because this is a free market and people, we're a free market economy. They should be able to participate in that.
Free market. Free market. Well, let's see how much she's made off of this supposed free market. In Nancy Pelosi's decades-long congressional career as Speaker of the House, and you know, there's a lot of people out there who love the Yes Queen. She's made her and her husband, shall I say, has made $130 million in stocks over her political career. Pelosi received a return of 16,930% over the almost 4 decades representing California. I say representing in air quotes. How's that for the free market? And this whole like free market, how's it a free market if you're sitting in committee hearings getting information before the rest of the public, information about potential war, information about potential movement or trends or changes in certain industries that might be advantageous for certain companies? How's it a free market if you're getting a head start before the general public and then you go buy up Apple, Google, Palantir, Big Oil, Big Pharma? That's a free market? I want to show you the video from Congresswoman Anna Paulina, who is now trying to force this discharge petition. She points out that this is not a free market. This is a complete scam and corrupt market.
This system up here is so rigged against the American people. It's not even funny. You literally have members of Congress on both sides, Democrats and Republicans. We need to fix healthcare, giving perspective on foreign policy. Meanwhile, they are literally bought out by pharmaceutical industry. Their personal stock portfolios are benefiting massively from it, from the government help that they get. They are personally benefiting from if we do get involved in any foreign conflict because the defense contractors' stocks skyrocket, especially once we send through the defense appropriations. I mean, this entire process is so rigged against the American people, and we're trying to bring a bill to the floor to do the very basic ending government corruption by banning members of Congress from being able to individually stock trade because they're getting on average 600% returns, which doesn't happen unless you're literally insider trading, trying to keep the amendment process closed so the American people don't know what's happening, trying to send out some watered down BS version when we have a bipartisan bill that's ready to go because they don't want to actually resolve the issue. They want to continue the corruption, which is betting against the American people.
Betting against the American people. Boy, 600% returns. Why are these people in Congress? They should be on Wall Street because obviously they're brilliant. Obviously they're clairvoyant. They have a crystal ball and they just know where the financial market winds are moving. It is so brazenly corrupt while you suffer. They are literally taking you to the cleaners. They are scamming you. And it's not just Trump, to be clear. He's not the only corrupt one here. It's Republicans, it's Democrats. They are literally trying to stay in office till death to enrich themselves and their family. How's that for a free market? Just a couple other metrics so you know how really bad things are while they're enriching themselves. And there, again, it's Republicans and Democrats. I mean, this is just some of the current horrible economic tailwinds. U.S. foreclosures surge 20% as homeowners fall behind on mortgage payments per ATTOM. The U.S. now has a record 13.1 trillion in mortgages, 1.2 trillion in credit card debt, and 18.6 trillion in household debt. Total credit card debt up 50% since 2020. 53% of all U.S. homes have lost value in the past year, the largest share of decline since 2012. Buy now, pay later, which is basically just financing your grocery payments. You've seen that while you're going to get groceries and other things that we need for life. Instead of paying all the way right then and there, you now have financing options. Well, those financing options were why Black Friday sales hit record highs. Buy now, pay later usage surged this Black Friday, rising 9% overall, with adoption especially strong among younger consumers. 41% of shoppers aged 16 to 24 basically finance their purchases. And younger millennials increase their usage by an astonishing 87%. Translated, the youth are so broke, they're putting it on a credit card that they cannot pay back because there are no jobs for them. Can't wait for that bubble to pop. I mean, I could go on with the miserable, depressing economic numbers, not to mention certain economists are now saying that you literally need $140,000 a year for a household income, like just to afford everything, healthcare, utilities, childcare, all of it. You need $140,000 a year. Do you have $140,000 a year? So basically, the new poverty line, one economist is saying, is $140,000 a year. Meanwhile, Pelosi and Republicans are making 600% returns. It's not just a Trump problem. It's a widespread government corruption problem. We need to get the money out of politics. We need to ban congressional stock trading. We need to install term limits. We need to have ranked choice voting. And we need public financing of campaigns. But none of this is going to happen until we get to the root of the problem. We need to de-incentivize corruption. And part of that is de-incentivizing trying to get in office to enrich yourself.